Hockey's a
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to
hockey.
the Extra Attacker podcast that is not being recorded the day before its appearance, and we totally know it's happened last night in the Oilers game 2 between Dallas and
Yeah.
Edmonton.
Wasn't that game 2 super exciting when
It
that
was,
one guy did that one thing and they won?
dude, when Draisaitl scored the game winner, but I
Oh,
won't say for
hot
which,
take.
but I won't say for which team.
Oh, now I'm hurt.
Got
Now
him.
I'm hurt.
Kidding. It'll be for the Oilers.
Now I'm hurt.
Yeah, fun fact. The game 1 was the first time I watched an Oilers game wearing this jersey and didn't have an Oilers player score the game-winning goal.
Really?
9 straight games since
Wow.
game 3 of
Did you
LA.
wear it during the night series in game 4 when Dry scored the game-winning goal?
That's why I said 9 straight
Again.
games with an Oilers player scoring the game-winning goal.
Okay, I like it.
Yeah.
I like it.
We'll see if
It's got some luck in it, but we're just not sure if it's good or not.
depending how game 2 goes. I mean, it already happened. I may have to switch jerseys again, but I'm hoping not. This jersey has brought good luck so far, so we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
Yeah,
We'll see what happens.
but yeah, lots
Anyway.
have been kind of not lots has been happening. It's kind of playoffs is a weird time, man.
Playoffs is a weird time. Before we get into that, how are you, my friend?
I'm good. Tired, but
Good.
life's good.
Good.
I'm making cool things, software.
Okay.
Making it happen. How are you?
I'm not bad. It's been a week. I am currently. I mean, we talked about it a little bit, but we'll talk about it all over again as if this is the first time for everybody watching. But yeah, school got out. Yesterday was the last day, so kids are excited. I am not.
Yeah.
If anybody wants to hire some remote IT people, please let me know. I need to get a job. That'd be great.
Yes.
So
He's a good worker.
Yeah.
Very smart.
Yeah.
Would
It's
recommend.
It's true. I would recommend too.
You're not the only one out of work right now, though.
It's true. Who else is out of work, my friend? Segues are so bad, but so good.
Hold on. Allow me to get the list here. Starting at the top. Brendan Shanahan. Oh.
Who?
President and GM of the Toronto. Oh, not president. Not GM. President of the Toronto Maple Leafs, because they have
ex-president now.
Yeah, ex-president. He has been voted out of office. He has been impeached from his role in the Toronto Maple Leafs organization. And
I'd
they're
like
not
to say I
looking
felt bad, but I'd be lying.
Yeah, they're not looking to replace him. The Shanna plan has failed.
Yeah, that's it. It's interesting to me because I honestly am not entirely sure. Didn't care enough to look up what were his roles, like what did he do, what is his job. But apparently, whatever the president was doing was not important enough to get a new one, because they're just straight up not getting a new one, which is interesting to me.
So here's the funny thing about presidents and CEOs of hockey operations and GMs and the relationship they have, is it's kind of like when you have them, it's kind of like a tandem sort of thing or a division of labor, where you'll have one guy working on it or can cover for the other guy, or one of them has the vision and they give the vision to the GM, and the GM has to go and make the vision happen depending on what the GM's vision is, who's in charge, and how they want to collaborate. It's this weird kind of thing where it's like certain people become important. They want them to be involved in the decision-making process, but the role is already filled. They don't want to fire that guy. So, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Unimportant.
Yeah.
2 guys filling one job is all it comes down to.
Pretty much.
So Shanahan's out. They're not looking to replace him. Big moves in Toronto.
Mm-hmm.
What else are they going to be doing? Because they cannot do this again. I mean, I feel like that has been what has been said every year for forever now. They can't do the same thing again, and yet they do the same thing again.
I mean, they sell
That's-
tickets. They do great
Yeah,
in the regular season,
yeah.
and it's
They sell jerseys that get donated back to the team.
yeah,
I
yeah.
mean,
It's just an infinite recycle. They get in the playoffs, they get their merch back, and then they
yeah,
sell them back to the
yeah,
fans
yeah.
at an increased price. So it's
It's
perfect.
true. It's true. It's
Infinite
true.
money.
So, I mean, there are a couple of big things that are in the rumor mill. The hot stove is heating up already, as it tends to do. The question is, are any of these things actually going to happen? Because it's Toronto and they have the ability to do nothing. They're very good at doing nothing.
Yes. However, that is going to play to their advantage, I think, this time around
Okay,
because doing nothing means people don't get re signed and they are forced to have new people come in.
it's true.
Like
It's
Brendan
true.
Shanahan, like Mitch
Yeah,
Marner, like
yeah,
potentially John Tavares.
yeah. I think Marner. I've heard Tavares more and more the last little bit. Marner, it's kind of been a known thing all season. This was their last shot with Marner before he's going. It's kind of been a not
Well,
so secret.
he
Obviously,
said
it never has been
otherwise.
confirmed, but
He
it's one of
wanted
those
to
we kind of
stay.
know. Yeah, I don't know how accurate that is. The
Well,
reason being, he has said he wants to stay, but they also gave him a gigantic contract extension in the middle of the season. He just straight up refused to sign it and shut down negotiations.
oh, that I didn't know. Do you know how much the
Yeah,
extension was for?
let me see if I can find it here. I saw this yesterday or the day before.
Then
Mitch
why would he,
Marner
if he would reject that, why would he
contract
reject the
extension
trade?
rejected. Let's see if I can find the details here. Uh, yeah, you're not going to give me the numbers on this article, are you?
Probably not.
Yeah, according to where'd the name go? This is Jonas Siegel at the Athletic. The Leafs did offer him a contract extension last season, but Marner, who has always said he loves playing in Toronto, said no. We
Hmm.
have a quote here from the post-series interview. According to the New York Times, he said, quote, "I've loved being here."
Oh.
Somebody who's going to stay would use the terms, "I love being here." Let's see here. Mitch Marner interviewed during locker room cleanout. Leafs attempted to sign Mitch Marner to a contract extension during the season. Organization chose not to wait and see how the postseason played out. They wanted Marner to stay. If they had signed him to an 8-year deal, it would have been the largest contract in history. So they offered him the 8-year deal, and he declined it.
Whoa. So then why would he reject the Rantanen trade? Because he blocked going to Carolina for
Yeah,
Mikko Rantanen. And if he wasn't willing to re sign with the Leafs,
it
why
has to
would
be
he
something
then
about.
choose to be the most hated player in that
Yeah,
market ever?
yeah, yeah. There's something about Carolina. I mean, Rantanen didn't want to be there, not because the team wasn't going to give him the money. He didn't want to be there. So it makes me wonder what is going on in Carolina that we don't know about. That Rantanen wanted out and got out. Marner refused to go there. Is it Carolina itself? Is it the team? Is it management? The weather sucks. Who knows?
I don't
But
think it is. There are plenty of players that love to be there, that have gone there, and that have stayed there. It's just
yeah,
the Gensel and the Rantanen thing. I think it was more that Rantanen didn't pick there, and it was the surprise shock. Like he
that's
didn't
very
know that
possible. Yeah,
trade was coming, and so every day he's in Carolina, it's a reminder. Because he doesn't
that's
know
possible.
anybody, he's not close with anybody there, or very few people, and it's like, I didn't pick to be here. This is a daily reminder of I was just sent here because some
Yeah,
people made the decision before we had agreed on a path.
yeah, yeah, and that's entirely possible for sure. Um, which doesn't answer the Mitch Marner situation, but
No.
who
And
knows? The last couple of days, I've been seeing a lot of Mitch Marner to Chicago.
I've heard that.
It's I don't think that's necessarily like a bad take. I think Chicago would be dumb not to try. Marner and Bedard together would be really fun to watch.
Yeah.
It's hard for me to take anything like that seriously though, because I feel like Chicago being an original six team, being a team that's in the middle of a rebuild, has Connor Bedard. It's like anybody who's a free agent. Oh well, Chicago's definitely going to be interested. Chicago's going to go get him. Chicago has a good shot. I feel like they're just kind of that team. Um, I'm not saying it can't happen. It won't happen. It shouldn't happen. It's just hard for me to buy into it because I feel like Chicago's overhyped a little bit. Um, but I mean, here according to Pierre LeBrun, it is quote a done deal. So he is
Dang.
out, according to LeBron. So
Well, if especially if he goes to Carolina, because I've heard
yeah,
the question is like how much does he want to win, and how much does he want to be the guy in the place he goes? Because if he
yeah,
doesn't want to be the guy, then he's got to consider places like Carolina who have the
yeah,
money, and he wouldn't be like, yeah, he'd be their kind of first superstar, but there's enough names, there's enough guys around there to balance out the attention that it wouldn't be like, Martyrs are
yeah, yeah. And that's
central.
another question too. I mean, I remember in baseball a number of years ago. Um, Now I just blanked on his name. I had it 2 seconds ago. There was I can't remember the name. Somebody will let us know in the comments and make me feel like an idiot. But there was this kid playing out in Oakland, and he was just lighting it up, super super good, and he was the guy. And then, as Oakland tends to do, they're not going to re-sign their players, so he goes to the Red Sox. And now he's no longer the guy. He's just part of a team of the guys. And tanked and had a terrible attitude, stopped showing up to team meetings, demands a trade, and gets out of there as quickly as possible. And he was only there maybe a year and a half, 2 years,
Oh
bounced
wow.
around two or three other teams, and was out of the league after being like the hottest thing. Incredibly skilled player. Last I heard from him, he played for the Mets and then just disappeared one day. I think it was in 2020. He just disappeared. Nobody knows what happened to him or where he went. He just stopped showing up to the team, stopped returning phone calls, and just disappeared.
That's weird.
And so I think it's a fair question. Does Marner want to be the number one guy? Or does he want to go somewhere where he can be part of the crew and not have to have that kind of pressure? That's a fair question to be asked, and only he knows what he wants to do. Um, but he's out of Toronto. I mean, I don't think there's any question about that. I mean, Chicago's a possibility. I know I haven't seen as much lately about it. But Utah has already confirmed they're taking a run at him. And
Well,
so whether
sure.
or not he wants to be here, who knows, but he is Utah's number one priority this offseason. So if he doesn't sign here, it won't be for a lack of a good contract. It won't be for the lack of money. We have tons of cap space. We got more coming. And Bill Armstrong has been given a blank check. Go do whatever you want to do. Spend all the money you want to spend.
Mm-hmm. I'm trying to
So, I mean,
see
other
here.
than those two teams, I really haven't heard much about. I mean, obviously, every team's going to at least look, but I haven't heard of any other teams kind of leading the way, or there's a super good chance he could go here. Or. I just haven't heard much.
Yeah. Yeah, no, he's not. There's nothing coming out of his camp that is indicating it. For some reason, it won't let me change what your cap hit
To
is
next
going to
year's
be
cap, yeah.
next year. But yeah, I mean, here 37 plus
Yeah, we're under
28.
50% of the cap, and it's what is it, 9 million going up this year,
Yeah,
something
like
like
if
that.
yeah,
Oh,
so if you got 37 plus 28, that's 65 plus another 5 for goalie. So you're at 70. So you've got like at least 20 million
yeah,
right now for next season.
yeah.
Oh, cap projections. Oh yeah, here we go.
There you
Okay.
go. Yeah,
So yeah,
22,
currently
22 mil projected for next season. So,
yeah, you could afford Marner.
oh, easily with Marner, because what I want to say they're projecting he's going to be in the 14 million range. Let's just bump that up because the cap's going up. We'll bump it to 16 just for argument's sake. That still leaves us 16, 22. That still gives us 6 million cap space.
Yeah. There you go.
So, yeah, but like I said, other than those two, I haven't really heard a ton. I've seen one or two, um, the stupid clickbait articles that show up on social media. I've seen one or two. This is what it would take for Boston to go get Mitch Marner. Boston's not going to go get Mitch Marner. We've accepted
No.
we're in a rebuild.
Well, have
We
you?
don't know how to tank. We don't know how to rebuild, but we're not that bad at tanking that we're going to go get Mitch Marner.
Maybe you guys are planning on tanking a bit harder for the next couple of years with that re-signing of Don Sweeney for 2 years.
Uh huh. I hope so, because Don Sweeney needs to go.
He sucks.
Yeah, he's back for 2 years. Well, you know what? Let's wait. Let's not even jump to that yet. We still got Toronto speculation here. All you
True.
Maple Leafs fans, go run and hide. Um, John Tavares. He's another one. Like I said, I've been hearing his name a little bit off and on all year. Really, last 2 weeks, I've heard a lot more about Tavares being gone, but I haven't really heard any teams specifically that he's linked to. I don't know if you've heard anything.
No, no, I haven't. I've
Okay.
I've more heard that he is more likely to stay if they'll have him.
Okay. Okay.
But
I
I
have
think he should
heard
go
that.
back to the Islanders. That would go over
That would
well.
be fun. It would be
Uh,
fun.
yeah, no, I've
Um,
if I had to guess, he's likely to stay unless they really can't come to a money amount or somehow
yeah,
magically Toronto doesn't want him. Like enough
yeah,
people in the head office don't want him. I don't see him leaving.
yeah, yeah. I mean, that's fair. It would not surprise me. Um,
Just like
the big one in my mind here that I've only been hearing the last 2 days or so, but it's been gaining a ton of traction. Both Sam Bennett and Brad Marchand are from the Toronto area. And
I have heard
in
about the
his
Brad
press
Marchand one.
conference, have you heard about his press conference the other night? The
Yes,
way he's talking about Toronto, the way he's talking about the Leafs. I always grew up a Leafs fan. I'm from Toronto. There's a lot of people speculating because Brad Marchand is a very intelligent person.
he's so good at laying seeds and giving
Yes.
little nuggets of information
Yeah.
well in advance in interviews and stuff. He's very smart and very
Yes.
calculated in what he says and when he says it.
Yes. So obviously it's possible this is just the rumor mill spiraling out of control. But he is a free agent. At this point, I would be I don't think he hates Boston. I don't think he's upset with Boston. I think he's always going to appreciate what Boston did. He's always going to love his time in Boston. but he now has the perfect opportunity to go play for his childhood team. I think if Boston never traded him, it would be kind of hard to do that.
Mm-hmm.
At that point, you re-sign a contract, you finish out your career. But at this point, you're not going to finish your entire career with one team. May as well.
Well, he's
I don't
already
see Toronto
won.
saying no.
He's won a cup, so it's not like he's trying to go somewhere
Exactly.
to have his last chance at a cup. He can
Yeah.
go anywhere for his own personal reasons,
Yep.
pain free,
Yep.
guilt free.
Yep. Yep. And
And
let's be real, Toronto wouldn't hurt to get a little bit more grit, a little bit more size, and get out there and lay some hits on people. Would not hurt Toronto one bit.
and then they could finally have Brad Marchand stop ending their playoff runs personally.
Oh, well, I don't know about that. He could still
But
score the game-winning goal for the other team.
sure, but the amount of times that
He is
he's
a
just
Toronto
so good
killer.
at scoring on Toronto. He's such a Toronto killer. When you get the killer on your
True.
own team, then
It's
what
true.
happens? Like
It's true.
that he's their second biggest obstacle next to the Panthers, man. Like
I would just I would love nothing more than for Marchand to go to Toronto, and then in the playoffs, purposely just tank and just play terribly,
just play
shoot
like
it
Matthews.
against. Yeah. Well, no, well, Matthews wasn't doing it on purpose. I want to see Brad do it on purpose.
Yeah.
Hey guys, I grew up loving this team, but I have a reputation to uphold as a Toronto Maple Leafs killer.
I got to do my I got to do
Gotta
my
do it.
duty. got to do my duty.
Yeah, yeah, but Marchand and Sam Bennett both are kind of linked to stay together and go to Toronto.
There you go.
Again, it's only been the last couple days. We'll see if that maintains any momentum. But that could be I mean, you've still got kind of your core in Austin Matthews. You get your captain there. It's not a completely new team, but I think if you lose Tavares, lose Marner, and then pick up Bennett and Marchand, that kind of gives a brand new look to that team. It'd be interesting to see if that happens.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still hoping Spicy Tuna will entice him to come over to us.
Hmm.
I doubt that'll happen. I would love to get me a
I
Marchy
think
Mammoth jersey, but I don't think that's
that
happening.
would be no.
That would be
No.
nice though. That'd be nice for my collection.
I think Spicy Tuna would have to play more in order to
Yeah,
be a more
yeah.
regular in the lineup.
To have any influence on that, yeah.
Yeah, we'll
But,
see.
yeah, it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting for sure. Um, yeah, other than that, I haven't been hearing too much as far as big free agent moves, big trade moves coming.
No,
The
that'll be when after the playoffs. Like everyone's just chilling, enjoying their time. Like
pretty much.
especially with right now it's all the head office people. Like we talked about Shanahan. The Islanders are likely to sign Matthew Darcy as GM. No idea who that is. Boston's re-signing Don Sweeney,
Yeah,
and
kill
it's
me.
like that's what's going on right now. Is people are just dealing with their front offices with all the coach hirings and firings. That's now's the time
Yeah,
because the players right now they're relaxing, they're either relaxing, vacationing, or you've got the World Championships right now.
yep, yep, yep. That's been fun, hasn't it?
Yeah, Canada's done great.
Now, I I'm a fan of international hockey. I think it's fun. I was able to watch one game. I think it's hard because of the way the games are scheduled. It's hard to just find the games available and being streamed. Even on some of the sites that I watch games on, they're not even being streamed on there. So it's hard to find them in general.
Well, and yeah,
But
but when
I
they're in
just,
Sweden and
yeah, I don't know. And it's hard because at some point as the NHL, you don't want to be, let's promote this international play instead of promoting our playoffs. I understand that, but I feel like we're just not pushing and we're not promoting this international tournament very much at all. If I wasn't so plugged in, I wouldn't have heard anything about it. You know, casual fans probably, I'd be willing to bet a lot of them don't even know that it's happening,
Mhm.
let alone are following it.
Because
Um,
it's not part of the NHL circuit. Like it's not very
yeah,
supported.
yeah,
It's for all the guys who aren't in the playoffs that want to still
yeah,
play some hockey and have some fun.
yeah,
That's who goes. And
yeah. I just,
it's
I don't know. I feel like there's even if it's all on the IAHF, 100% on you guys. You guys need to promote this. I feel like they need to be doing a better job of promoting it here in the States and up in Canada.
I well
I'd love to
that
be able to watch
depends.
more games.
I don't know much about them. They may be just an organization focused on Europe,
That's
on
possible.
hockey in Europe. Like they might just be based there. Because clearly they don't care about having interest from North America by
Yeah,
the timing in which they have the tournament itself.
yeah, yeah,
Which is why everyone's so excited for the World Cup of hockey to come back, because it will be held at a time when the NHL players are available and it won't interfere with the NHL schedule at all, like say Four Nations or the Olympics will.
yeah, yeah. The Olympics, yeah, that one.
I think it's wait. Oh, actually, World Cup of Hockey. Now I'm blanking. It might be during that All Star time, or it might be during the summer. No, I'm not sure. It might interfere, but the NHL is directly
February
supporting it.
2028.
Okay, so it is. We take a pause from the NHL schedule to do it. Then
And hockey is so hard because it is a winter sport. It's just hard to plan that, but I don't like the Four Nations. I think it was small enough, it was fine. But even that, I mean, you had players, I'm not by any means saying that the Bruins were going to make the playoffs and then couldn't. But what if they were a bubble team at that point? Charlie McAvoy goes down, he's out for the rest of the year, and now all of a sudden they don't get a playoff spot. Matthew Tkachuk gets killed in the Four Nations tournament, he's out for the rest of the year. What if they don't make the playoffs because of that? You know what I'm saying? And
is
so like
wouldn't
this
wouldn't
World Cup of hockey, what if there's some bubble team or somebody that was a playoff team and then somebody gets injured and now they don't make the play? I don't know what the solution is, and especially with the
well
Olympics. You can't just move the Olympics. I just don't like having these other big things in the middle of the season because it's going to have such an impact on what should be the main priority.
sure, which is why it hasn't been there for a long time,
Yeah.
because the NHL had its priorities. But this is what the players want. This isn't just an
Yeah,
appeasement for
no,
the
I
fans. This
know.
is what the players want to do.
Yeah.
International hockey's big, and this is international sports like this is a thing across multiple sports. Just look at soccer.
Yeah.
They will have international friendly games that take players away from regularly scheduled league matches. And
Yeah,
it's
which
fine because
I don't
it's
like
about
that.
I do
And I may be
because
in the
it's
minority, but I
I
just
I
I
do.
don't know.
I do because it's like having an all-star game that the players want to play in, that they care about for one
Yeah,
thing. So we get to see best
yeah,
on best. We get to see super teams compete against each other in a controlled, non-problematic format. It promotes the
yeah,
game of hockey. Like it helps promote and grow the game
yeah,
to an unreal level. And what's helpful for that too is when you're having it in the middle of the season, that attracts a lot of attention. You get a lot of new people interested, and then they immediately get to go and watch these players with their teams. You get to grow fan bases, you get to
yeah,
grow attention, and grow everything around the game. It's more about, to me, growing the game. And yes, there is the risk of injury,
yeah.
but
And
the, so,
I don't disagree with those points. I think you're right, and I think it is a net positive for sure. I've got no problem with the international tournament. I think this needs to happen. I think the fact that we haven't had it has been a detriment. I just don't like the timing. That's my only issue with it.
but
Um,
they could get injured and
Baseball.
be out for months
Oh
regardless
yeah,
of when you
it
do it
could
in the
happen
year.
at any time. Yeah. But baseball, they do the what do they even call it? World Baseball Classic. They do that during spring training. which 2 years, yeah, it wasn't this season, it was last year. We saw Edwin Diaz, huge name, all-star closer for the Mets, breaks his leg in the World Baseball Classic, misses the entire year. Mets don't even make the playoffs when they were expected to. And one of their biggest problems was the closer role. It can still happen,
Yeah.
but you signed a contract, you're being paid to play for that team. I am just a big fan of, that is your priority. And the World Baseball Classic being before the season, I'm cool with that. Why don't we move this tournament to, what is it, September? Why don't we move it to July? Give us a big tournament right in the middle of the summer to break up the summer monotony a little bit. That would be awesome.
Isn't that
Put it
literally
in
the middle of
August
the
so it
season
wraps
though?
up and you got a week to or 2 weeks to hype up before the season, or whatever it is,
This is baseball?
No, I'm talking about the World Cup of Hockey.
Oh, no,
I don't
because then
move it out of the middle of
you're
the season.
competing with baseball then.
Nobody cares to watch July baseball. As one
And
of the biggest baseball fans you've ever met in your life, maybe the biggest baseball fan you've ever met in your life, nobody cares about the dog days of summer when that's the only thing happening.
I think another issue is in July is free agency. And so you have all that surrounding things, and that can cause big problems. Like if, say, you get injured, what team's going to sign you? You
Sure.
know, and plus
But if
that's
you get
players'
injured in
time off.
February,
Yeah, but the thing is too, players will have just finished the playoffs. You're going to have people that have been injured a long while. You're going to have people that cannot play that you
mhm,
want. The middle of the season is the optimal time for players' freshness, health, and compete level,
yeah,
with allowing
yeah,
time potentially to heal up for the playoffs. Yes, there's always
yeah,
the risk there, but you're always going to have that risk. So to me, you're looking at the balance of when are players going to be best able to play and when is it going to be least detrimental to their team's success.
yeah. And that's where I think we just disagree on that, because I
Yeah.
would rather you get injured after the playoffs and sit there with a broken leg over the summer. Maybe you miss the first month or two of the season. We can fix that, and I can deal with my star player being out in September, October, and we have time to catch up and compensate for that much more than, oh crap, our star player is now out February and March as we're heading into the playoffs. Now what do we do? You know what I mean? And so that's where
Jeff.
I just think we just disagree on that. It's just the timing
Yes.
wise, because I think we're going for the same thing. That I don't want the team being hurt. I just think it's more detrimental to lose your star player in the middle of the year.
And Jeff, there's one thing about that. You'd be right, but there's one thing about that, one key crucial thing that I think would completely change your entire mind and
Oh boy,
make you realize that this is the best way. Jeff, when is the trade deadline?
February
If a player gets injured, what do they go on?
IR.
LTIR. What does
Uh-huh.
that do to your cap room?
Gives you a lot more cap room.
So, if your player happens to get injured and has to go on LTIR right before the deadline, thanks to an international tournament, what can you do in preparation for the
Become the biggest
playoffs?
Golden Knights.
Become the Tampa Bay Lightning, become the Florida Panthers,
Yeah. So that
potentially the
doesn't change
Edmonton
my mind. I
Oilers if
want to get
Ekholm
rid
comes
of
back.
that. I hate that loophole. That's stupid. I want to get rid of that.
Well,
This
clearly the
tournament
NHL
after
is
the
not.
season in the summer, and
Clearly
then
the
we don't
NHL.
have that problem.
Clearly the NHL is interested in encouraging it even more by the timing
You're
of
not
this.
wrong.
Coincidence? I think not.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. But we got way off. There is an international tournament happening.
Yeah, Canada did well until they got knocked out by
Canada,
frickin' Denmark.
they got knocked out by Denmark. And my buddy texted me the other day. He heard about it before I did. And he goes, "What is Canada doing losing to Denmark when Canada has a roster full of NHL players and Denmark has two?"
Well, if we
I just want to
look,
pile on that embarrassment because that hurts.
oh sure, but here let's see. time. Let's look at time on ice, so we can see Canada here. So if we look at the
I'm
players in
mostly
this
upset
game,
about Marc-Andre Fleury not
yeah,
playing anymore. That's a thing.
yeah. So we've got McKinnon played 23 minutes.
Spurgeon,
Uh,
O'Reilly, Dobster, Uyghur, Forster, Crosby. Every one of these players so far is an NHL. Celebrini,
yeah.
Matheson, Coyle, Fantilli, Montour, Johnson. Yeah, every one of them.
How did
Riker
frick? How
Evans.
did
Who's
the
Riker Evans?
some fourth
I don't know
line
who that
somebody?
is.
I
Porter
recognize the name.
Martone. He's one of the kids getting drafted this year.
Sure.
Other than
Yeah,
that,
I don't know.
every one of these names is an NHL name.
Yeah. Well, I mean, McKinnon had 4 shots. Konechny had 5. Like, shots were 40 to 33 for Canada. Denmark, man. Who was their goalie?
Sebastian Dom, Frederick Dickow.
Frederick DeChow.
Dick
DeChow.
Ow.
Well, that's what Canada was feeling after he shut the door.
Truth.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Freddie.
never heard of either of
Frederick.
those.
Yeah, but he stood on his head. 39 saves on 40 shots.
Yeah, yeah,
That appears based off of those stats alone to be the thing.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
You know
2-1.
the thing.
I mean, again, like the thing is, they don't necessarily care a ton either,
Yeah, yeah.
right? Like they're just
Nice
this is
copium.
just for fun. It's a bunch of who dickies and how what's it's all playing together and just having a good time, and I don't know. Like they're not playing for anything big. It's nothing on the line.
The copium is real.
Yeah, well, I mean,
America.
USA beat Finland 5-2.
Yep.
Yeah.
So our final four: Sweden and the U.S. and Denmark plays Sweden. Wait, hold on a minute. I wrote Sweden twice.
Yeah, it's Sweden, Denmark
Sweden, U.S.,
against Switzerland. Sorry, that's
Switzerland. Okay, that's what I screwed up on. They're playing the U.S.
See, what's fun is when Sweden and Denmark get to play each other, and Sweden's on the left because the first 3 letters of used for Sweden is
Yeah.
SWE. First 3 for Denmark are Den, and so it's Sweden. And then when you look at the letters left out of each, it spells Denmark.
Not quite as good, but have you ever seen when the Phillies and the Padres play each other
Yes,
in baseball?
I feel like that's better even when it's 0-0 Phillies Padres.
Or
And it
yeah,
spells poop.
Pirates rather.
Yeah, Pirates. Yeah,
Pirates and Phillies when it's a 0-0 game and it spells poop.
poop. Though I heard that
Right.
somehow was gotten rid of. Like they stopped that, or how'd that happen?
Yeah, the Phillies broadcast updated their score bug.
Boo.
So
Wait, it was a bug. How is that?
score bug is what they call the graphic with the team and the
Oh,
score, and yeah,
boo.
it's called a score bug.
Boo.
Yeah.
Bugs out. Yeah.
So no more poop games.
Sad. Hey, the U.S. was losing at one point in this game. Fun fact.
Doesn't surprise me.
Yeah. 2-1.
But look at that third period, Clayton Keller. Let's go, baby. Captain Keller. Oh, Logan Cooley assisted on that Connor Garland
Wait,
goal. Wow, that
he
was.
he's the captain of the U.S. team right now too. Oh,
He sure does be.
a mammoth of a
Yeah,
captain.
we've got
you might say.
four players on Team USA from Utah, and then like
Edmonton has
3
0.
on other teams, something like that.
Yeah, Edmonton's got 0.
I wonder why.
What are you gonna do?
Yeah. Edmonton is just terrible.
Really, truly.
Not as terrible as Toronto though. Toronto fans, you thought you were done getting crapped on today. Nope.
Oh yeah. We'll go to that, and then I also have a fun statistic.
Okay.
About Toronto.
No grit,
So,
no grind, no greatness. I think I messaged you this yesterday too, when I sent you this. I don't even know what they were going for. Clearly, they didn't go out and just say, "Oh, hey, let's talk about how bad we are.
They just barely avoided
The
copyright
song.
infringement
Okay.
too. No grind,
Yeah.
no grit, no greatness from 2024. They just switched grind
Yeah.
to grit.
Yeah. Clearly they weren't trying to say we have no grit, we have no grind, and we are not great. That's not what they attempted to say. I can't even think and figure out what were they going for that is now being interpreted this way. And did nobody, I mean, this had to have at least focus grouped the entire management team, all of the marketing team had to have seen this. And not one person said, hold up a minute. Let's not do this.
Maybe they had some twisted sense of this is us showing accountability
It's just,
for things. But it's like,
yeah,
okay, so you haven't achieved greatness, so are you trying to tell us you have no grit and you have no grind?
yeah, yeah. Like what? I don't even know what they're trying to say with this, but it's not. I like that second comment that's on the screen there. Early betting favorites for next year's Maple Leaf slogan. No chance, no chance in hell.
No Marner, no
That's my
Tavares,
favorite
no
one.
Cup, no playoffs, no Game 7 collapse, no jerseys on the ice. Now, see, that one's not true because if they're not even going to make the playoffs, jerseys will be
Oh, there'll
flying
still be
on the
jerseys.
ice. There'll
Oh
be
yeah.
plenty of
Oh yeah.
jerseys.
Yeah. Yeah.
Unless they've got a
I
chance
just
at getting McKenna, then maybe they'll be
yeah.
like, oh.
See, I just wish I had throw my jersey on the ice when my team underperforms kind of money.
I mean,
I
to
wouldn't
afford
do it.
to be able to go get close enough at a Leafs
Yeah.
game in the playoffs to be able to throw your jersey on the ice,
Yeah.
you kind of do have
I
jersey
mean,
throwaway
fair.
money.
That's fair. I just some people. I don't get it, bro.
See, but see, here's the thing. Of course, they failed on this. It's hard to top your logo advertising stuff when your helmet says Oreo and your jersey says milk. Like that's just the best advertising combo in the NHL, in
I
my
never
opinion.
made that connection.
No one does, and I pointed out to people, and I'm just like, "Hey, look, did you notice?"
I've noticed both, but I've
Yeah,
never
right. Oh, it took. It was only a few months ago where I was like, wait, Oreo milk, Oreo milk. This is the thing. Like it's so subtle but so good.
I could really go for some Oreos and a glass of milk right now. Now that you've said that.
So could Carolina.
Mm, Carolina. It's kind of funny because the
Oh
Carolina football team is the Carolina Panthers. So
yeah.
every once in a while, when I say Carolina, I'm like the Carolina Panther. Hold on a minute. No,
Hold up.
they're also
Wait,
bad.
they are bad. Hold on, I
But
forgot my fun.
wait,
I forgot my fun. My last fun Toronto stat fact.
it's,
Uh,
you will never hear an objection from me if we're gonna crap all over Toronto.
so you know how bad Buffalo is, right?
Yes, they're bad
They're,
until they're eliminated from the playoffs. Then they get pretty good.
yeah. Well, naturally.
Yeah.
Buffalo has more playoff series wins in the last
No,
20 years since the
no,
04-05 lockout. Buffalo has twice as many playoff series victories than the Toronto Maple Leafs.
not playoff victories, series victories.
Series victories. Buffalo has 4. Toronto has 2. Prior to this year, it was 4-1.
And they won one last year and one this year. So prior to last season, it was 4-0. And how long has it been since Buffalo has even made the playoffs? It has to have at
14
least been
years.
15 years.
It's
Yeah,
13
okay.
or 14 years. Yeah.
Okay, I was close.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was tough because I really, really wanted Toronto to win. As much as I hate Toronto, I'm a Boston fan. I hate Florida more.
Yep.
But I also needed to keep the Toronto sucks meme alive. Hockey would not be the same if that was not a thing anymore.
Yeah, we'd be going back in time.
Yeah. Yeah. So Toronto, please don't shape up.
I mean, I at this point, I don't think it's possible. I don't know what it would take. I don't.
At
I just think
least
some
they don't
black
have.
magic voodoo mojo juju.
Yeah, yeah. The benefit for Toronto though, if you don't make the conference finals, you cannot hold the record for most consecutive conference final game losses. Carolina has currently lost 14 straight games in the conference finals. They were swept in '09 by the Penguins. That's 4. They were swept in 2019 by the Bruins. That's 8. They were swept in 2023 by the Panthers. That's 12. And they're now 0-2 against the Panthers to make 14.
Yeah.
This is another tough one. I want them to at least take a game off of Florida. Don't let Florida roll that easily into
I
the Cups.
I
But
disagree.
you gotta keep this alive.
Yeah, I disagree because I have a theory. And
You're
this
wanting them to
theory,
have more rest.
no. So finishing a series early and getting rest is desirable only in rounds 1 and 2. It
Okay?
has been my experience that the team that finishes their third round series first between the two conferences usually
Mm-hmm.
is the one that has a slower start, that struggles more early on, and usually loses in in the Stanley Cup final because they don't get to just keep their momentum going.
Okay.
And so, with Edmonton having lost game 1 and now Florida winning the first 2 games, Edmonton will, if in order for them to win, will have to play at least 5 games. So
Yeah.
if Florida can finish their series first, then they will lose their rhythm, they'll lose their mojo and cool down a bunch. And then Edmonton will be able to keep more of its momentum, especially since we've had some decent rest from the first 2 rounds, to then
Okay.
just
Okay.
go and roll over. I mean, just look a couple years ago when the Panthers swept the Hurricanes. What happened? They lost to Vegas in the Stanley Cup
Yeah.
Finals 4-1.
Yeah. So the last 2 years that's been true. I'm now interested. We'll have to go back and look and just see like how statistically accurate that is.
Yeah, it's
Because now I'm
it's a
interested.
pure vibe thing. It's a pure vibe thing.
Sure, sure. But it might. I mean, I don't know. You might be on something. You might be on something. But yes, as we've mentioned a couple times now, Florida up over Carolina 2-0. Kind of these games haven't even been close.
No.
Now I have had a week. Haven't
Mm-hmm.
been able to watch. I think I've watched 10 minutes combined out of all 3 games that have happened in the second or the third round so far. There have been 3 games. So I've got a couple of cool stats here. We'll go over some of these stats, and then we're just gonna let you. This is your week to soapbox. You haven't watched
Okay.
everything. You've watched far more than I have. So we're gonna need your intel and your breakdowns on these series here.
Okay.
But yeah, Florida Carolina. Florida's up 2-0. Scoring is 11-2 in favor of Florida. It was 6-2 in game 1, 5-0 game 2. Carolina is known as a high shooting team. They had
Mm-hmm.
the all-time record in the regular season. It was like 74 shot attempts per game or something like that.
Yeah.
Postseason, they were setting records. I remember one game against Washington in particular, they had like 96 or 97 shot attempts. Like that's their game plan. Just shoot and shoot and shoot and shoot and shoot. And the more we get, the more shots attempts we take, eventually something will go in. They had 17 shots on goal in game 2. They entered the series 28 for 30 on the PK, on the penalty kill here in the postseason. So they'd only given up 2 power play goals.
Mm-hmm.
They've given up 4 to Florida in these last 2 games. Now the Panthers, in their last 28 postseason games, in which they held a lead at any point in the game, are 28-0.
And which is funny
They
because
have
I'd heard it
never
described as
lost.
going into intermission, any intermission, first or second intermission, anytime they've held a lead, they've won. But I haven't heard it said like that, which is even crazier.
Yeah. Yeah, so from what I've heard it could be either way. I mean, that's a small delineation, but it is a delineation. The last 28 postseason games under Paul Maurice, in which they have held a lead, they won. They never gave up that lead.
Yeah.
Um, Sam Reinhart for Florida, Sean Walker and Seth Jarvis for Carolina. All three were injured in last night's game two. We don't know if they're long term, short term. We don't know if they're playing game three.
I mean,
No word
Kachuk's
on
been
any of
playing.
them. Yeah, Kachuk's been playing hurt. There's a couple guys playing hurt. But yeah, those three didn't finish game two. Currently, I mean, I know we're pretending that we're not streaming this the night before. It is 4:15 on Friday night. As of right now, there is no word on the condition of those three. They may be there, they may not.
Yeah.
With all that being said, what have you seen out of these two games? Why is Florida dominating?
So here's the thing. Carolina's had the easiest path of any team to the conference finals. They had a weakened injured New Jersey Devils team that they were able to get by, and they had the one-trick pony Washington Capitals. That their one trick very strong. They're a very strong team, but Carolina's very good at adapting, very good at forcing you to play their style when you're less adaptable.
Yeah.
The Florida Panthers are just so physical and so adaptable. They are dynamic and they will play however they can play so many different ways, and they have so many different they know how to find a way to win in so many different circumstances. And they figure out what is your strength. We're going to attack that. We're going to attack that. Shots, just like you were saying, the shots on goal, that's Carolina's strength. That's how they get the job done. They're like, okay, we'll just play a way that shuts that down. And then Florida is just so opportunistic in their play. They will, because they're reliant on their opportunistic and on shutting you down, all they have to do is get a lead, and that's why they don't lose it, because they're not concerned about getting more. They'll gladly take it, and they'll push when the opportunity presents itself, but they wait for the right opportunities and they play to the game state. That is why Florida has made the conference finals the last 3 years in a row, and the Stanley Cup finals at least 2 years in a row, looking like potentially 3. They have their roles, they have their players, and they play to control their opponent.
Sure. Now, how much of this, from what you're seeing, is not Florida excelling, but Carolina just terribly playing? Couple of days ago, I had a buddy text me, out of the remaining 4 teams, Carolina's easily the strongest because they have the best goaltending and the best defense. I'm like, what kind of drugs are you taking?
Are you looking at
Gave him
the
a lot of
advanced
crap for it.
analytics? Yeah, well, that's the
Yeah,
thing. They
and
have
that's
amazing
exactly what I
advanced
did.
analytics.
Yeah, I went and broke down the advanced analytics. I'm like, no. But with that being said, the spirit of what he was saying, I don't think was inaccurate. I think they do have a good defense. I think Freddie Anderson is very underrated in a lot of ways. But 11 goals in 2 games. Is Florida, I mean, obviously Florida's taking advantage of them. Florida's making them look silly, but are they beating themselves? Is this defense collapsing? Is this goaltending collapsing? Or is Florida just that much better than Carolina has been?
I mean, it's always a bit of both, but I think playoff Panthers, the playoff Florida Panthers, just turn you upside down. They have the experience, and experience is king in playoffs. You have to know how to play in the playoffs. You got to play the right style. You got to have the right mentality, and you got to know how to give everything. And they manage themselves to be ready for the playoffs. You saw the Oilers do it a lot this year with some of the struggles they had in the regular season that are now no longer that way this playoffs. The knowledge and experience and the preparedness mentally that you have to have, and the grit and the grind you have to do a nice throwback, Florida is just full of. They've built around that. And when you when you are so superior in those ways to another team, it doesn't matter how good that team is. That
Yeah.
you will make them fall apart. They can be playing great, but I from what I've seen, Carolina is doing their thing. They're trying to do their thing.
Okay.
It's just they need to adapt stylistically, and I don't know if they're built to handle the adaptability of the Panthers. That's just my
That's
take.
fair. That's fair. And that's, I mean, that's something that we saw, at least here in Utah in the regular season, that there are some teams, like, it's very easy to just say team A is better than team B, therefore team A will beat team B. Well, sometimes team C is worse than both of them, but their game just matches up better against team A's way of playing and style of playing. We saw that with Utah. Winnipeg is just steamrolling everybody, destroying everybody. They come into town, we beat them like 6-0, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't that, oh well, Utah's a better team than Winnipeg. It was the style of game that they play and the style of game that we play matched up that certain way, which would make more sense why both Tampa and Toronto definitely went off to better starts and have played better against Florida in this postseason that Carolina has. Might not be that Carolina's a bad team. Their style just doesn't match up with Florida's style very well.
Mm-hmm.
The little bit that I have heard about the series, their shots are very low because Florida's doing very, very well. Let's just contain him at the blue line and not let Carolina get in and get set up at all. And so they're not able to take shots. And that's been the biggest thing from what I've seen. The very little that I have seen.
Yeah.
So, any other notes on that?
No, that's we'll see. We'll see on those injuries, but and the thing is, say with Florida scoring as much as they are, how healthy is Freddie Anderson? He's great when he's healthy, but he doesn't have longevity. He's
True.
made of glass.
Maybe
So
he's injured. Yeah. Yeah, we don't know. Well, is everybody ready to see kind of get a little tilted here? I missed the game. I saw 3 to 5 minutes of it maybe, but you were rage messaging me a little bit here and there. Dallas Edmonton game 1. Dallas scores
so well.
3 power play goals in 5 minutes and 26 seconds in the third. Edmonton is 15th out of 16 playoff teams this season in penalty kill percentage. Last year, they were first. For comparison, they are 14 for 37 this postseason. Or they've given up 14 out of 37, sorry. Last season, they gave up 14 out of 70. Or 4 out of 70. Holy
Across
crap.
all 4 rounds.
Yeah, yeah. Reading is hard. So they've played 12 games so far. Last year, they played 25 total. In half as many games, they've given up 10 more power play goals. Last year, they were a perfect 14 for 14 against Dallas. And they gave up 3 last night. This is the first time Edmonton has given up 3 power play goals in one period since 1992 against the Vancouver Canucks in the Smythe Division Final. There's a throwback for you.
Yeah.
However, I love the way I wrote these notes as if I was actually writing a real sentence. However, Edmonton has had heartbreaking losses in both the previous series, and they were able to rebound very well.
Yep.
The two that came to mind immediately, they were down. I think it was game 2 of the Kings series.
3-0 and
They were down
4-1
3
at one point.
nothing. Yeah, 3-0, 4-1. They ended up with a 3-goal comeback in like 2.5, 3 minutes, something stupid like that at the end of the game.
Amazing.
Against the Kings. We're all celebrating, getting real excited.
I posted on my story about that. Sorry, go.
No. I want to hear this.
So when we
I'm
tied
about
it
to
up,
rip all this out from you.
I posted on my story, like as soon as we tied it up, I posted a picture of the score. Like, are you guys watching this? Like, this is amazing. Are you? This is crazy. Yeah. Then literally as I hit post, LA scored. I immediately deleted it. No one saw it, thankfully.
No With 42 seconds left. Nets a goal. Edmonton loses 6-5. Heartbreak. Still not as bad in my opinion as what I think it was it was either game 3 or game 4 against Vegas.
It was game 3. Game 3.
Game 3. Okay. 0.4 seconds left. Stuart Skinner goes out of the net, gets beat. Draisaitl puts the freaking puck in their own net with 0.4 seconds left for a 4-3 loss. Now, obviously, they were able to rebound after both of those heartbreakers and win those series. First two goal scorers in game 1 this year were the same as the first two goal scorers from last year's Dallas Edmonton series. Dallas also won game 1 last year.
Yep.
And I could be wrong, but I know Edmonton lost game 1 against LA. I think they lost game 1 against Vegas, didn't they?
No, we won against game
We
1
won
against
game
Vegas.
1. Okay. I just know in general, Edmonton likes to play from behind. So, and kind of we'll attest to this. Before the game even started, I said I'm not even worried about tonight because we already know Dallas is going to win. Edmonton will not come out
Oh
of the
wait,
gate
no.
strong. They will not win the first game.
I lied. Dallas won game. Edmonton won game 1 last year in double
Okay.
overtime. My
So they did
apologies.
lose both game 1s already this year then. And now 3.
No, because Edmonton. Sorry, no. Edmonton won game 1 against Vegas this year. It was last year. Edmonton lost. Edmonton won game 1 against Dallas. Dallas did not win game 1 last year. I was wrong. I'd heard wrong.
Yeah, Edmonton, Vegas. Yeah, Edmonton did win it this year. Okay.
Yeah, Edmonton won all games in Vegas.
Yeah.
This year.
Okay.
Sorry. Yeah.
So with all those things
take
being
that back.
said, the one thing that I know you're going to hit on, and I have seen one replay. Apparently, there were multiple instances of this. I saw one replay that admittedly looked like it was terrible camera angles, possibly selectively cropped. But there was a high sticking penalty against Edmonton. And from the short video that I saw a couple hours ago today, Edmonton's stick didn't even get above the Dallas player's waist, let alone be a high stick. Regardless if if it was deceptively edited, Oscar season has come early or come late. I have no idea when the Oscars are. Nobody cares.
Dude, I hate Wes
But
McCauley.
that should have been 2 for embellishment for sure. But that's all I know about that situation. Like I said, I saw one clip of it. It might have been accurate. It might have been inaccurate and edited badly. I don't know. You saw the game
correctly.
Let us hear your thoughts on game 1.
You saw correctly. Wes McCauley is too old to be doing this. He is not a good ref anymore.
But he's still funny.
Yeah. So is the devil. Doesn't make him good.
Wes McCauley equals Satan. You heard it here first, folks.
So true. Yeah. Nah, he's not the devil. But okay. So let's break it down here. So we've talked about it so many times, but all the refs apparently are so afraid to give Edmonton power plays, but not afraid to give the other team's power plays. Dallas, who's had one of the best, if not the best, power plays in the playoffs, Dallas is 100% right now been reliant on their special teams across the whole playoffs. 5-on-5, they're garbage. They're trash pandas. Okay? In one game this postseason, has Edmonton had more power plays than their opponent. And this one's no different. Dallas got 3 back-to-back. Technically one was right at the end of the second period. That honestly, no, I'm thinking of something else. But I was thinking it should have been a breakaway. Should have been a penalty shot, but that was something else. They right at the end of the second, so didn't score. Beginning of the third, they score on their power play. Okay, Edmonton, terrible penalty kill, like you've been saying. Our penalty, like that first one at the start of the third, there was 3 or 4 guys right in the shooting lane in front of Skinner, all the way from the point where Heiskanen was shooting. Heiskanen shoots it, and whether you're watching in real time or in slow-mo, you see Janmark move his leg out of the way of the shot. I hate Janmark. He's, he's on the team. We can't take him off the lineup because he's such a good penalty killer. Then why did he move out of the way of the shot? His goalie wasn't going to see it. It ended up still somehow hitting Skinner's arm, but there's like, when there's 3 to 4 guys in front of there, one of you has to block it, okay? If you're going to screen the goalie, you got to block the shot. And that's how the second power play goal went in too. Or second or third, one of the two. But I forget. There's one that I forget how it went in. But again, defenseman literally going in front of the goalie, halfway between the shooter and the goalie, just kind of going in the way so the goalie can't see it, and it goes just right under the bar top shelf. Like, if you're going to screen your goalie, you have to block the shot.
Yeah.
We're not. Oh, I remember how the other one was. The other one, the defense were looking for the puck all on the goalie's left side, all there, and it had hit the boards and gone over to the goalie's right side. And the Skinner's looking for it, like, come on, where's the puck? Where's the puck? Because everyone's reacting around there, whereas there's 2 star players getting in each other's way, trying to shovel the puck in while the goalie doesn't see it. Skinner almost gets over in time, but just doesn't quite. But, Skinner ends up looking back at his defense like, guys, what? You literally see him go like, what are you doing? What's happening? Yeah. And he never does that. So it's like our penalty kill can't get it done. We usually get better as the series goes along. First couple games against LA, our power play was absolute dog water.
It was ugly. Yeah, it was
terrible.
ugly.
It got better. The final 3 games against Vegas, we were perfect on the penalty kill. We scored 3 goals. And the thing is, Dallas is so reliant on their special teams, and Edmonton always gets better as the series goes along, that if we can clean up our penalty kill, we did score a power play goal, tying the amount of power play goals we had against Vegas in that series.
Oh, good.
Like, the thing is, Dallas, if they're not if they're not getting the power play opportunities, you score at least 3 goals, you're not losing 4 games to Dallas.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. I don't think a lot of people are going to go back to blaming Skinner because people are like, it's easy, but let's
goal
let's
goes
not
in,
blame.
Goaltender didn't stop it. It's easy.
Yeah. Like, and you remember me telling you about the last goal Dallas scored, where literally it was either like Duchesne or Steele shot the puck. It was missing the net, and Sagan, who'd had his stick tied up with Draisaitl, finally just brings it around as he's going by the side of the goalie, and just as he's bringing his stick around, this puck just happens in that motion to hit the stick and go in. You're like,
yeah.
Okay, like, tell me how that's his fault. I don't know. Yeah. So I think Edmonton, they always figure it out. They don't panic.
It'll be fine.
They don't listen to the outside noise. And
I think that's one of their big strengths. Yeah.
Yeah, they don't care. They've been here before. Throwback to McDavid after last year when Florida's up 3-0, and he's like, "I'm looking forward to people doubting us again." Bro, you're down 3-0.
Yeah.
What a thing! Yeah. And they nearly did it too.
It was close. Yeah. So I want to back up your point a little bit here.
Mm-hmm.
Dallas is 6th overall for all playoff teams, but out of the 4 teams that are remaining, Dallas has drawn the most penalty minutes at 8.61 per 60.
That's penalty
Edmonton
minutes?
has penalty minutes drawn per 60 minutes.
So
per
that's
game.
4 to 5 penalties a game
per
in
game.
The playoffs.
Edmonton
in the playoffs.
is last out of the remaining 4 teams at 6.47. And the only team worse than that in all of the playoffs was Minnesota at 4.81. Edmonton is literally 15th out of 16 on how many penalties they're getting.
And so let me share with you another fun fact, another fun stat there. Edmonton has the highest goals for expected percentage, 5-on-5. That means how many goals, the percentage of goals that your team is expected to have 5-on-5. Yeah. And that's largely calculated by your puck possession that you have 5-on-5.
Yeah.
When you have the puck the most, that is going to give you, naturally, the most opportunities to get penalized. Yeah. How, pray tell, does Edmonton have the puck more than everyone else with players like McDavid, Draisaitl?
Yep.
And yet they have the second least amount of penalties of anyone in the playoffs.
Yep. Yep. Now the interesting point here for me, minutes taken per 60. So how many penalties are you committing?
Now, yeah.
Dallas, 8.61. Exactly the same. They are averaging the same amount of penalty minutes given as taken.
That's crazy.
You want to take a guess? Is Edmonton higher or lower
Oh,
on the
higher,
amount
higher.
of how many penalties they're
Totally
giving?
higher. Higher.
8.08.
How are they lower?
That's higher. Oh wait, no, they are lower. Never mind. I can count numbers. 8.08. So they're lower, but not by a whole lot.
Between
So
Corey
Dallas is
Perry and
getting
Evander
penalized
Kane.
slightly more, but they are drawing 25% more penalty or power play opportunities than Edmonton is.
And that was reflected 4 for Dallas last night, 3 for Edmonton. Now, Edmonton needs to do better on those.
100%. 100%. 100%. And you and I have had this discussion before, I think even on the podcast. You're not wrong in that Edmonton leading with the most possession time should result in a higher number of penalties. With that being said, I want to make it clear to everybody that's watching, we are not saying because they have the
No.
puck more, therefore they should have more penalties. One leads to the other, but one is not a guaranteed result of the other. We're not saying
Yeah.
that.
Not a direct
But there
correlation.
is
But
but
first
there is
versus
a
second
big
last.
discrepancy where if I have the puck far more than everybody else, but I'm that much lower on getting penalties and getting power play opportunities, there's something going on because that is that is a big gap there. So there is something weird going on there.
Now, I'm going to take a leaf out of Bruce Cassidy's book because I really
Okay.
like the way he handled this sort of topic during the second round series, where he's like, yeah, it's happening, but it doesn't matter. It's going to stuff like that's going to happen. It's up to us to handle it and then just play better. And that's ultimately, at the end of the day, what needs to happen. Yeah, okay, so we're not getting as many penalties and we're taking more. Okay, cool. You can argue all you want, and yeah, it's fun. It's fun to whine. It's fun to be there. But before, ultimately, my personal opinion is, who cares? Play better. If we want to look at last year, if I just noticed this. This is last year's game one. It was 5-1 in favor. The power play. Dallas had 5 power plays. Edmonton had 1. Dallas went 0 for 5. And look, it was 2-2. What was the even strength scoring last game in game 1 between Edmonton and Dallas? 2-2.
Yeah.
So
literally the difference was the power play.
So if we'd had replicated this like we did last year, it doesn't matter what happened. Even if we then didn't score on any of our 3 that we had this year's game 1, it goes to overtime, just like last year.
Yep.
And who knows what happens. So this is the thing. To me, we need to figure out our penalty killing. Let's not screen our goalie. Let's get in the passing lanes and let's control rebounds when they happen.
Yeah.
And then we'll do it. We've done it before with largely the same cast of characters.
Yep. And I agree with you. Like I think both things can be true. I think both things are true. That especially in a press conference, at that point you're talking to the media, but you're also talking to your team. And if Cassidy comes out and says, "Yeah, we got screwed and the refs screwed us over and it's unfair," that's not the message you want to send to your team. Because now your entire team's just throwing up their hands saying, "Well, there's nothing we can do about it." I agree. It doesn't matter if they have a million or power plays and we get 0. We still need to perform better. That's just the way it goes. I agree with that. On the other hand, though, when there's that large of a discrepancy and there's clear issues happening, I don't think those can be ignored. I think, again, in that press conference setting is not the time to address it, but these things do need to be addressed. And it is something that is a valid criticism and a valid concern and a valid complaint for Edmonton fans to have. I mean, looking at these numbers, I don't even remember what I did with that tab. I'm not going to look it up again, but I was looking at the Edmonton versus Dallas numbers. I was also looking at Florida's numbers. You want to take a huge guess as to which team has the most penalty opportunities? Like, come on now.
Florida.
Come on now. So these things are valid issues. There, whether it's bias, whether it's our officiating just sucks at their job, which is hard for me to believe. I don't want to, and I'm not saying that it's all rigged. I'm not saying that the league is a
No, I don't think
predetermined
it's
winner. I'm
rigged.
not saying that at all. I think referees are human. There is some degree of bias. Maybe somebody on Edmonton came out and didn't say hi to Wes McCauley, and now he's upset at Edmonton that night. Who knows what it is, but both things are true. That Edmonton absolutely needs to play better. They shot themselves in the foot more times than they should have, and took themselves out of that game. But they also wouldn't have been in the situation to shoot themselves in the foot and take themselves out of that game had some of those calls not screwed them. You know. So it'll be interesting. Game 2 tonight in I think it's about an hour.
Yeah. Yeah.
What time's the game
Well,
start?
that's. Oh, it starts at 6 Mountain. So, I mean, we've still got 2 hours.
Oh
Just under
yeah, hour
2
and a
hours
half. Yeah,
until puck drop.
yeah,
Well, because they're going to start at like 6:20.
yeah. That's true. 2 hours. At least we don't have to hear the friggin' kazoo national anthem anymore.
Harmonica.
That it was harmonica. Kazoo would have been just as bad.
Well,
No, it was the kazoo was the
Edmonton
Edmonton one. That's what it was.
Edmonton was
Yeah,
that we
yeah,
taunted them by having seniors around here play songs on the kazoo to be like,
yeah,
oh, look
yeah,
at us.
yeah.
We didn't have them actually do the anthem though because we have class. But in the immortal words of Jack Michaels, only in L.A.
Truth, truth.
Yeah,
But
listen.
yeah, it'll be interesting. Game 2 tonight. I mean, obviously, I don't think either one of us are going to pretend we're not biased. We want Edmonton to win. I I will give us credit, and maybe this is in bad taste, complimenting yourself, but like from a majority of the people that I know that are hockey fans, I am willing to go on record and give the two of us credit for being two of the more objective people that personally I know. We know that there is bias. Of course there's going to be bias. We know that that exists, but I think we do a good job at trying to filter that out as much as possible
Mm-hmm.
and being as objective as we possibly can. There's a lot of people that don't even try. There's a lot of people that think they're trying and aren't trying. I think we're very good at that. Let us know if you guys disagree. Maybe we are total shills and we're annoying to watch. Who knows? Um,
If
I
we're
think we're
annoying to
pretty
watch,
fair with
why are
it.
you watching
Obviously, we
this?
do want
Thank
Edmonton
you.
to win this, but yeah, watch it anyway. Hate watch us, please. Tell all your friends how bad we are and have them hate watch us. That'd be great.
Yep.
Um, but yeah, again, I didn't watch it, so I don't know firsthand, but that one replay that I saw, and from what I've been hearing, not only from you, but from others as well, it was pretty clearly in the bag for Dallas for whatever reason. And I mean, Edmonton does
Well,
need to play better. They need to get their crap together, but they
Well,
were
we
also
dominated the first two
circumstance.
periods. We
Yeah,
dominated the
yeah,
first two periods. It was just 3 penalties back to back to back that
yeah,
Dallas was able to capitalize on, and just the crowd was just standing on their feet from that point on. Like even after the first goal, like after the second goal, like the crowd was just so behind them. All the
yeah,
momentum was for Dallas, and then to
yeah,
have them call another penalty of high sticking where the stick didn't even hit him, he just sold it so
yeah,
hard. Like at that point, you're kind of like, how in the world are we gonna win? Because you just know at that point they're gonna score on that power play, and it's just, the momentum's a real thing. It was similar to kind of how the momentum worked for Edmonton in Game 3 against LA, scoring
yeah.
after on that power play after the bogus
Oh,
challenge, the
that
stupid
challenge,
challenge.
yeah,
Yeah. So it was
Yeah,
as though Edmonton had done that, except we hadn't. The refs had done it. And it's like,
yeah, yeah,
okay,
yeah,
write it off. Like it's we played great for 2 periods
yep.
and it you, a
Fortunately, you got to
third
play great
period
for free.
a third period like but see here's the thing that a third period like that bad where everything just goes so well for a team that doesn't happen often. That will happen once, maybe twice a series.
Yeah, if that,
Like
yeah,
you're not going to see that happen every game here. Edmonton will continue to play their game. They know why they're here. They know what they're doing. They know what they want. Dallas,
yep.
I guarantee you, is not as hungry as they are. Dallas has not.
Ooh,
Dallas does not have the pain as fresh and as biting as Edmonton does. Dallas is riding off of losing to Edmonton in 6 last year.
yeah,
Edmonton is riding off of losing in Game 7 of the Cup Finals.
yeah.
You tell me what is more motivating.
It's true. It's true. It's true. I think it'll be a good series. This is possibly the most exciting series we've had so far. I think Dallas and Edmonton are two of the better teams out of the playoffs, and
I think
I just
Edmonton
hope.
Vegas was supposed to be more exciting, but then
I
Edmonton
agree.
was
It's
like,
supposed to be.
nope.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah. A couple of those games, I was like, all right, this put me to sleep. But I just, I obviously want Edmonton to pull it out. I want them to win it. I want to see Rantanen go off though. He is fun. I really like watching Rico Rantanen. I want to see him get
Next
another
year.
hattie this series.
Next year. This year
Well,
is
no,
our
next year
year.
they're still going to lose to Edmonton.
But even if they don't, just give us this year. This year
That's fair. That's fair.
and then I just need the 1 year.
Yeah, because
That's
Edmonton
all
is
I
going to
got.
lose to Utah in the conference final. So thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Sure.
It's been fun.
If we win this year, I couldn't care less.
Nobody cares. You
Nope.
win a cup, you're satisfied for a couple years.
Yes, sir.
Oh boy, ladies and gentlemen, been this week's version of the Extra Attacker podcast. Thank you for joining us. Please share with your friends, even if they want to hate watch us. We will take negative comments. It might hurt my feelings a little bit,
I'll
but we'll
cry.
take it. I'll cry. I cry all the time. See you later, guys.
Adios.